lover, love song, radiation, theory, professor, the world can't spare. Psychopathic masterminds of fear, pushing the panic button all along. Instead, let us look at the unfettering light that is slicing beyond the dark clouds throughout our life journey, and make us feel its radiation and the vibrations around the path of stillness. Gianni Honecker coined the sentence for solution, the pollution, the delusion when it comes to radiation. If fallacious, Oregon was bathing in a daytime aurora on Saturday, August 17th, 2024, that could be felt and not seen. The daytime fatigue and unusual pains were the notable human effects. The predicted USA aurora was a bust. The solar radiation definitely arrived as people and strays fatigue and pains in Oregon, USA. Predicted day. Unfortunately, auroras are so dim that they cannot be seen during the daytime. Only 2 aurora predictions in Oregon were right so far in 2024. One lasted of the night and was seen throughout the world, and the other lasted about 20 minutes. My estimate for the northern lights in Oregon being predicted correctly seems to be about a 5% accuracy. Most of the time, the Oregon prediction was wrong. I knew I was disabled when everyday home activities became overwhelming. It is only a matter of time before another nuclear bomb is detonated during war, wiping a war-ridden city off the map. Will be a statement to the world as it was in 1945. Auroras are so dim they cannot be seen during the daytime. My estimate for the northern lights in Oregon being predicted correctly seems to be about a 5% accuracy. Most of the time, the Oregon aurora predicted is wrong. Proxy wars have us on the edge of the next nuclear disaster. Once upon a time, on a small, watery, excitable planet called Earth, and a still small, watery, excitable country called Italy, a soft-spoken, rather nice-looking gentleman by the name of Enrico Fermi was born into a family so overprotective that he felt compelled to invent the atomic bomb, just like backing out of the driveway. If the driveway was 10 miles long, full of rocks and pits with lethal radiation hovering above, waiting to smite you. No one in the Tartans family knew that she had been used in an experiment, nor that she had the radiation over her whole body. No consent form had been offered her. According to the doctors, patients were being told that they were being treated for their disease spinals. The radiation are made more potent by proximity. The definition of summit brain is a malfunction in brain that is at high altitude or is hypoxic or is radiation exposed and or has been exposed to Faraday cages and or has viruses and or has used medical oxygen and or has used over-counter drugs and or has been exposed to industrial pollutants and or has been exposed to partial vacuum and or has malnutrition and or has long-term damage from the various exposures. A poor diet combined with high-altitude exposures may bring increased risks of illnesses and cancers. Most people that have radiation sickness end up having a life that is much sicker than the general population. For most people with radiation sickness, it is a life of significantly degraded health. The degraded health, high altitude illness and disease research is where radiation health research was during the time of Mary Curie. After watching the cloudy ring of the fire eclipse on 14th October 2023, I had changed health that was consistent with low-level radiation sickness. New Mexico is home to the first atomic bomb exploded on U.S. soil. Nevada is the home of USA atomic bomb testing. There are many stories of atomic bomb veterans never being compensated for developing radiation diseases. I look at the sun all the time and have no eye issues other than those associated with aging. I wear glasses for reading at age 55. I would never look at the sun through glasses, binoculars, or telescopes through, as that is really dangerous. Anything that causes magnification or increased solar radiation levels, such as reflections, is bad for the eyes. I started to see a serious decline in health in high-altitude professional astronomy. Most noticeable was the onset of constant fatigue, memory issues, and confusion. The condition progressed during my time in the commercial and utility solar industry, where I started falling asleep at work and developed a hot skin. The doctors tested me and said I had a shift work disorder in 2008, and vitamin D and vitamin B12 deficiencies in 2001 and 2015. I had a COVID-19 like sickness that made everyone in the family really sick. I never recovered and started regular visits to the doctors. They diagnosed severe sleep apnea and mental illness and prescribed the CPAP machine. under the care of the doctors. I became much sicker on their prescription drugs and treatments. I eventually got smart and figured out I was not going to recover under for care, and they actually killed me in 2021. Moving to Hawaii Island revealed I had altitude hypersensitivity and a high altitude commutant disease called Maje's disease. By the end of 2023, I had developed treatments that these conditions, and I made a reasonable recovery there. There is no cure for every conditions. They are lifelong illnesses. I now have to live well below 1,000 feet near sea level and take treatments for the rest of my life. I documented conditions in the books Toxic Altitude and Maje's disease. The treatments for the hypoxic high altitude damage appeared transferable into COVID-19 and long COVID, and those documented in the books COVID supplements and long COVID supplements. If you want to know what biological incompetence looks like, just take a look at the high altitude professional astronomy. The solar industry has built the largest solar radiation monitoring system in the world. They call the large surges in the solar radiation levels. The cloud effect is more extensive and is actually called environmental lensing of solar radiation. The environmental solar lensing is known to overload solar power systems and blow fuses. Extremely tragic effects. Facts are like radiation. If you have been exposed to radiation too much, you will lose your health from time to time, and you have to hide somewhere. Yes, you have to escape from some heavy truth to keep the peace of your soul and the workings of your mind. The war in Ukraine is using jammers. Hardly any radio communication works there. Their emissions are bad for the health of the population. We are in the process of finding out how viruses interact with electromagnetically irradiated humans. What do you call an electrical and electronic engineer with electromagnetic hypersensitivity unemployed? The government does not have my permission to irradiate my home nor from space with biologically toxic satellite radiation. These were shut TMT down. I was researching light deficiency for the book Toxic Light. I closed all my window blinds and kept the home interior relatively dark for several months, and made me super sick. Then I started to feel better before I started, and then I became sensitive to sunlight. After my gradual return to sunlight, I felt better before I started speaking.